Hey there, and welcome to the Dynamics Hot Dish Podcast, serving up stories and knowledge on Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. This is what's hot in Dynamics. You're now joining Merlin Schweiger, Liz McGlennon, and Ashley Steiner. I think this is a good question. If we were going to go on road trips, what would it be like for each permutation of us to go on a road trip? I think first, my question is, what if all three of us went on a road trip together? Would we survive?
I would say that's probably the best scenario.
We'd probably get into a fight at some point.
But I think it's the best
Just
scenario
one?
because two of us, usually what happens is two of us fight and then the other one tries to
the mediator.
Get in the middle and ease tensions and stuff. Never have we all fought at the same time all together. At least I can't remember. So I think that the three of us is the best scenario. Not to say that there wouldn't be fighting, arguing, kicking, and screaming, but
crying.
I think, yeah.
All right, I think that's fair. So then I guess the question is, which combination of the two of us is going to fight the most? Because without that third to mediate, so Ashley, if you and I go on a road trip together.
I think it's Ashley and Merlin.
I think it's Liz and Merlin.
The common denominator here is Merlin.
I was gonna say, I feel like somehow I'm the common denominator, and I'm not sure why. Why would I be the problem?
I can only remember major arguments with Liz. I can really only remember a couple.
Yeah.
Where we really got
So I think that depends on the purpose and goal of the road trip. If we have somewhere to be and there's a plan, or you have to be prepared for something, then Merlin's the issue. But if it's just lackadaisical, we're just gonna go wherever and nothing matters, then there probably wouldn't be as many fights with Merlin because there's nothing on the line for it.
Wow. All right. So if we were driving to a conference cross country, let's say we were going to drive to the Dynamics Con Live in November or whatever, and we were going to drive all the way to California, you think that I would get in fights? Well, I guess Liz thinks that I would get in fights with Ashley, and Ashley thinks that I would get in fights with Liz. Why wouldn't we just enjoy the road trip, guys?
Why didn't we think to do a road trip? Now I'm kind of wishing we would have.
I mean, I guess that's fair.
That might have been the end of the hot dish.
Or we could have overcome a lot of things. When bands road trip together, they process through a lot of internal shit.
That's true.
I guess that's fair.
We might need a podcast therapist though after it, or to ride along.
Oh, that's so funny.
What would we do on said road trip?
So if I'm not driving, I'll sleep.
You sleep the whole way?
Mm-hmm.
If it was 24 hours, you'd sleep the whole time?
I mean, I'd probably sleep 80% of it if I wasn't driving. You get me in a car and I immediately fall asleep.
So this is why I guess this would make Ashley then the best road trip companion, because she's just asleep.
But
so
that's
the other
boring.
That's not the best, because that's sucks for the other people.
Well, and if you're trying to stay awake and drive, it helps to have another awake person
which is
keeping
why
you awake.
Which is why I like to drive, because then I have to stay awake and I get car sick, so I can't even read stuff, because then the other person can read a book out loud, or we can play games, because I can't read in the car. I'll get sick.
Audiobooks, podcasts.
So back the last time I did a really big road trip, podcasts were not a thing. So, or I was by myself and I just listened to music and had a concert.
I mean, fair enough. I feel like I do just fine with podcasts or audiobooks and partially asleep and sometimes awake companion. That's fine. I'll just drive for a while.
I like audiobooks.
No fights required.
Merlin, do you
Go
ahead.
I was we'd probably fight over which audiobook to listen to.
Oh, I'm sure we would. Well, if we were road tripping to Summit together, we could just all listen to our book that we're supposed to read for the podcast. But we're not road tripping.
I'm going to read it on the plane.
Oh, that works.
It's a good idea.
Merlin, I was going to ask, do you like to drive too?
Yes. I mean, I don't mind not driving, but as a general rule, when I'm in a car with another human, I tend to feel that I am the superior driver, and therefore their driving bugs me. I'll be like, you're following too close. Why don't you go around this slope car? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?
Yeah,
And all this
Merlin's
is
not
running through
allowed to
my
ride
head.
with me. Merlin's like, I would smack him for the
I don't
backseat
say
driving.
these things, Ashley. I don't say these things unless I feel that they are
I
a
bet
direct
Ashley could
like
tell,
risk to my
though,
safety.
just like the
Oh,
vibes you're giving
yeah,
off. It'd be
like
oh, you're driving wrong.
Well, like my dad does the whole dramatic, like push his hands on the dashboard thing. Like I feel
I
like
don't
Merlin
do
would have,
that.
but he'd have like verbal cues like that where I would just look at him and be like, one more. Like I threatened to kick my dad out of the car, like on the U-Haul when we were driving from Seattle to Wisconsin to move me. We got to Spokane, which is 6 hours from Seattle. And I was like, I'm buying you a plane ticket. Like I will drive this U-Haul myself. Like I'm done.
Ashley, are we allowed to eat in front of you in the car?
No.
You can't eat?
Or the music just has to be loud enough to cover it. That was the thing that actually bothered me about my dad was he was chewing gum.
So what do you see? Merlin, do you
As long
ever
as I
have
can't
snacks
hear
on
it.
a road trip?
As long as I
can
can
go 24 hours without eating.
It depends if I can hear it. You can't hear it. It's, everything. You guys are mean.
Actually, we would have a really big problem.
You can eat, like, it's just, you can't
No,
be
you don't know
obnoxious
what
about
my
it.
snack is. My snack would drive you nuts.
Twizzlers.
What is your snack?
Sunflower seeds.
Oh, yeah. No.
Oh, that's a terrible car snack. I'm all about
It
the
is a
combos myself. So they do
I like
great
Chex
as
Mix.
well. Combos.
Oh, okay.
I like Chex Mix.
I like Chex Mix.
Because it's like a variety of stuff.
I like Mambos. They're like better Starbursts.
Oh.
They're very tasty.
So what I've learned from this is that Ashley is going to be categorically the worst road trip companion, no matter what the combination is, because you can't snack. She won't help you stay awake. And if she's driving, you can't judge her driving because then she'll kick you out of the car.
But if you're sleeping the whole time, you won't know if we're eating.
That's what I'm saying. So like
basically aren't there.
It also depends on like what you're eating and how you're eating. Like I grew up on road trips, guys. I grew up in Wyoming. It was like 3 hours to a grocery store. So like you ate in the car all the time. You just it's the obnoxiousness of the eating. You guys are mean. I'm done. It's a real problem. I keep forgetting misophonia or something. It's like actually a thing where you get angry hearing people chew or drink.
I understand.
It's an actual problem.
Should we move on to our actual topic?
I want to like take my tea and drink it really loud, like just to drive Ashley nuts. She's gonna kill me.
Oh.
Yeah, we can move on, Merlin, to our topic.
Okay.
So today we're talking about the new admin center, right? And the new solution, like the preview of the solution designer.
Yeah, I figured it'd be a good idea to like lump those things together because it's a bunch of new cool stuff that's moving out of the legacy and into the new. I don't know if you guys have been noticing all the MVPs on LinkedIn are like, oh, the solution preview, it's amazing.
The one that caught my eye was like the little warnings that you're getting now. So like when you go into the settings area and you see things like, oh, like this is your users are not going to be here anymore, your security, things like that. I know that has nothing to do with solutions, but like, I think I noticed that before I noticed like the solution stuff.
Oh,
that
so
makes
you
sense
mean
because
like
you're an admin.
classic.
Yeah.
It's because I am an admin.
And you haven't been getting to like the user stuff through the admin center. You've still been going through classic experience.
No, I use I've been switching. So like I would say over the past like 6 months, I've been like, if I go to the classic, I'm like, wait, let me see if this is in the new one first, which then it always kicks me back to the classic look and feel anyways.
Right.
But I'm trying to force myself to like go there.
Form a new habit. Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I still have to consciously kind of go there first too, like think about it. I still default to the classic for like system setting, like admin type stuff. I'm good about using the maker portal, but not the admin center.
No, it's true. I feel like historically most of my use of the admin center is like, okay, I had to deploy an environment, and then I'm like, all right, good, it's deployed, like
Right.
I turned on or not the new wave updates, and then I went somewhere else to do all of my work.
Right.
But I found some like really interesting stuff in the admin center, and I feel like this is things that like I don't know if people just don't tell you about, but you know, like you can update all of your apps in there. So like when you go to your environment, you have things like LinkedIn, or you have I'm trying to think of what else would be in there. LinkedIn is the one that I use most often. But you have like flow apps in there. You have like a bunch of stuff, power apps, actions, checks, things like that. And you can update them and manage all of your apps in the resources area of the admin center, which before, if you wanted to update LinkedIn, you had to like import a new solution or something like that. So you can actually just with a click of the button update your apps now.
Or see what's even in there, like if it's an environment you're unfamiliar with. I mean, we had the app section in kind of the thing before the admin center, like the instance picker. And so like it makes sense that it's in there. But I agree with you, Ashley, like it's super hidden. Like I don't think it's intuitive or like front and center on where it is. Like you have to go to an environment and like go to settings or something, and then resources, and then like apps. Like it's kind of buried.
It's not even under settings. It's like under just resource. You know what I mean? So
in the environment, like under resources. Yeah.
It's like not in the same place. So it's confusing because then you don't know like, oh, I go here for this and here for this. It's just something new, right? Like in 3 years, we'll probably be like, why did we think this was so difficult?
In 3 years, it'll be different again.
That's so true.
That's definitely the case. Yeah, I feel like managing users in the admin center has been, I mean, for me, somebody who has not done that much environment like management over the last 3 or 4 years, like going in and managing users, I'm like, okay, I don't understand. So like I go to here, but then I can, like now I can add security roles there, but I don't think I used to be able to add security roles there, but you can't change the security role there because that still kicks you back to the old interface with all of everybody's favorite little circles. Which now like doesn't even make sense because the custom entities tab is like all the stuff that's now out of the box, and it's not custom anymore. And it's just, I don't know if they need to overhaul that, but that's a separate topic.
Do you think security roles will get an update to the UI?
Well, of course, like Liz, you've been saying for a while now that Microsoft has said by the end of October, like everything's going to be updated. But does that mean like
that means
that stuff too?
Yeah, I think when they say everything's going to be moved to the admin center, it means that you can access it from the admin center. I don't think it means that all the legacy designers are going to be updated within the UI too by the end of the month. Yeah.
So that's where I was like calling BS because I'm like, there's no way that they're going to like have all that updated. But,
I really don't think so.
Yeah, I was saying now having it, just hearing that, like having it all in the admin center, that I could believe. Like be able to access it somehow.
And it's not even technically like part of Wave 2. Like this is like a separate thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. They need to at least update the tabs on the security roles so they make more sense and like categorize things. Like I just went through this literally yesterday, and I was like, why have they not fixed this?
Did you throw that on the idea site for the developers to take a look at, Marilyn?
No, but I will throw that on the idea site, and then everybody who's listening can go vote for it. That's how I will use my power for good.
Yeah, and we'll include a link to that. I guess probably not everybody knows that that's a thing either. Like the ideas site that they give you where you can talk about what you want.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the, I actually kind of want to talk about the solution preview stuff because like I've been messing with it since the preview showed up in my environment, like, I don't know, late last week. And I like it. I have some complaints with it.
Shocker.
I never complain about anything.
Let's start with what you like first.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I like is I like the tree structure layout. I like that it makes it easier to see the hierarchy and to jump straight to the thing that you want to edit. So like
it's a lot like more like the classic left nav.
This is the thing that I was like, you know, this kind of reminds me of the old solution window where everything was just on the left and I could just expand the little carrots and then be like, and I want to go to forms. and I want to go to views, and I want to look at whatever. I do like its kind of categorization breakdown with a little count in there. That's kind of handy. So I can say, oh, well, I've got, this many web resources and this many tables and this many whatever. That's kind of handy. But I do like that. And it does make it a lot, I think, faster and easier to like just go to the thing that you want to edit instead of having to like click and then wait and then click and then wait and then click and then wait and then actually do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice.
I agree.
What else do you like? Is that all, Marlon, that you like?
I mean, that's mostly what I like. What I don't like.
Liz, do you have something that you want to share before Merlin gets into his dislikes?
No, the left navigation was the main like thing that I've appreciated so far. So Merlin can go on his complain about his stuff now.
Don't like is that when I'm done editing something in there, like you go to the into a form, right? You go to the form editor and it takes over the whole screen. You're editing your form, you do whatever, and then you save it, and then you go back. And it takes you back to the same thing, but now all the stuff that I had expanded before has collapsed. So now I gotta be like tables, accounts, forms. Like I'm still on forms maybe, but everything's collapsed. Well, what if I wanted to jump straight to views? Then I've got to expand everything again. Why does it have to collapse? I don't understand.
Because it's Microsoft and they release things half-baked, Merlin. I don't even know why you have to ask.
Well,
it's in preview.
Right.
That's true. It's in preview. I was also sort of hopeful that they would have fixed the disappearing back button when you like create a new form or view.
It's back.
Or like save as.
It's back now? It wasn't there like 2 days ago.
No, I meant like the disappearing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mine stopped disappearing for maybe 8 to 10 months. Yeah, mine would always be there.
Even with the save as?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
With everything, my back button would stay. And now like the disappearing part of it is back. I got so frustrated.
You guys realize that you can just use your browser back button, right?
Oh, of course.
Right.
And I do.
But the point is that if you're gonna have a back button, it should be there.
Yeah. No, because I always do try to use that one first. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's gone. I have to go click the browser one.
Right. Yeah. But then I feel like you have to click the browser one like
3
more
times.
than once sometimes. So usually I do like the press and hold and then just pick the second thing down.
That's true.
But it's like
all of the back buttons are fidgety. I say it's a 3 time. You have to click it 3 times for it to actually go back to where you want it to go. Because it'll just, you hit it and it'll stay, and you hit it again and it'll still stay. And then the 3rd time it'll actually go back.
It just wasn't sure that you didn't know that you meant it. It was like
are you sure? You're positive.
You really want to go back? Like, this is a pretty cool page. Are you sure you want to go back? Oh, okay. You're sure. All right, we'll go back.
Okay, we'll do the work. We'll bring this back.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, I think they said everything's going to be switched to the admin center. Like they have not said like everything's going to be switched to the maker portal, right? That's my understanding of the announcement.
Oh.
I guess
because think of all the things you still can't do in the maker portal. Like I don't think that's included. I think it's just the like settings and the admin center stuff.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So that also makes it more realistic. Yeah, there's
from
still
the maker portal still.
Yeah.
I'll say as an admin, like I opened up the new solution designer, I think like 2 days ago, or was it was late last week, but anyways, it's been like 2 times since I've been in there. And and it wasn't difficult to like maneuver or learn or be like, because like I remember when the maker portal first came out and you're like trying to navigate and where are things, like maybe it's because I'm already used to like some of the layout and we're bringing back some of the old, the old classic layout, but it didn't seem difficult to me. Like it was very intuitive. I also like that in the like to add components, like a sub component or like a new component, the list is shorter. Like they've combined things. That to me was like, oh my God, I don't have to like read down and scroll this like huge long list,
non-alphabetical list,
and then go to other anyways, which is down at the bottom, and then it has all the I really appreciated that change. It's such a small thing, but it's huge for like frustration levels.
Yeah, I agree. It's easy to pick up on. It just kind of like appeared. I saw it for the first time while I was training on the maker portal, and I was like, oh, there's something new. I'm like, I guess it's in preview. Like, don't know anything about this, but I like trained with it on, and I'm like, okay, like this works. So even though it was my first time interacting with it, it didn't really like throw me off at all. I will say like the one thing I don't love about it is in the old version, you can go to the ellipsis for like an entity or table and publish just that one table, but I have not found a way to do that in the new interface.
I did find a way to do it, but now I don't remember what it was. It was like
not publish all.
Yeah, I'd clicked on something and then I like unselected something and then the publish, just the publish button appeared for the table.
But you don't know how you did it?
I don't remember now how I did it.
I'll have to look.
Click around.
Yeah, I just figured it wasn't there, so I stopped looking.
It's there.
Okay.
Well, this is one of the things that's like a little frustrating to me is like I'm sure there's documentation somewhere, but like it's not going to go into that kind of detail. The only way that you learn this stuff is by like trial and error.
Yeah.
And so you have to spend the time. Yeah, we're talking, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, think about how a lot of admins are like sitting alone with no help, or they're the only ones.
Go to your user group.
Yeah, no,
I get admins. It. Yeah. Well, I think like I'm because of like the switch and all the things that aren't there, is that if I don't find something like pretty quickly, I assume it's just not available, instead of like now that I know it's possible, like I'll actually spend more time like this is here somewhere, I just need to find it. But like if you don't know that and you're some things aren't there, you just kind of give up maybe sooner than we would have in the past,
right? And
assume that, oh, it's in preview, it's just not there yet.
It is nice that like you have the classic and then you have like the first version of the Maker Portal. Now we have like the preview.
3 versions.
So it's like I say it's nice, like I say that very sarcastically, but it's like I really wish that they would have like gotten rid of the classic and like made the first version, everything, and then done
like
preview.
Just one version.
Yeah, like
it's kind of frustrating. Well, and like I don't know about you guys, but like it's frustrating to have to check both versions. Like I just had it where the other day where I was like, this needs to be hidden, like this field needs to be hidden or shown on a form or whatever. And like the settings had been updated in the Maker Portal, but they had been changed on the classic form designer. So like I had to check 2 form designers to like actually make the change. And it's like, you're just caused double the amount of work. Like let's just have one place to go change the form or the view or whatever.
And it makes me wonder, are they going to get rid of the first version of the Maker Portal before the classic? Because what a mistake that will be, like to still have the classic on version 1.1. I don't know.
I mean, it's not 1.1. We have the top navigation. That's like 2013, Ashley. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
It's true.
I think if they just recycle things, it's kind of like the names, how Merlin has said they have 7 names for everything. Like, I think they just have like a list of ideas and they just like, oh, they're not going to remember that we did this 8 years ago.
It's everything as old as new again. They
do go full circle. I mean, look at the tabs on the forms.
You got form tabs across the top again. I remember seeing those. We're getting more left-hand navigation.
You have lines on the grids. Like I remember in 4.0 when they had that.
Yeah. Well, everyone says there's too much white space. So
let's just throw a block line in there.
Maybe it'll break up the white space, won't it? I don't know. And I feel like that was my biggest sort of like entertainment value from the new like solution preview. I saw somebody post on LinkedIn like, oh, this is great. And like, this is something that was sadly needed for a while or whatever. And I was like, I read the whole thing. And I thought, but this just looks like
we've always had this
2011 solution editing interface. Like, yeah, you're right. They did need to fix this because that was pretty good. And that worked for a long time. And then they got all fancy on themselves. And then they realized that going all fancy actually isn't all that cool. Now they're cycling right back around again.
It's just like the pre-unified interface, like when all the navigation was on the top, like the Maker Portal went through the same thing. Like they gave us those tabs across the top. No one liked them. Went back to a left navigation kind of tree structure. It's like, that's because that's what's intuitive.
But think about all the other applications, like Outlook uses that too. So, I mean, just think about, if you make all of your applications the same, it's going to be less confusing and people will be able to learn it on their own. And that's my biggest complaint with Microsoft just in general and their tools is that it's not intuitive for people to understand and learn. So hopefully they stick on this track of like keeping everything similar.
Yeah. Well, and as you said, like the new solution preview, like we all got in there and we're like, oh, all right, like I understand how this works. Like this fits into my concept of how these things work. Easy. Like my biggest struggle legitimately was on the like add new and add existing list. I was like, oh, now that this is consolidated, that thing that I used to just like, as you said, actually read in the list and find, it's nested under one of these now. Which one's it nested under? Oh, it's under this one. Okay, easy.
And it's logical, like how they're
Yes.
nested. Like, I don't think I've ever gone to like one area and been like, oh, it should be here, but it's here instead. Like, it's super logical now.
Yeah, much better than the long.
Oh,
like,
the long list is terrible. You're like, where is it?
I can't tell you the number of times that I was like looking through the long list. I'm like, okay, it's not here. And I went to other, and then I read the whole other list, and I was like, God, it's not there either. And then I found it on the first list.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the alphabetizing part of it, that was really difficult for me to say, was like the worst part of it, Liz. Like you said that it's like, at least if you're gonna have a long list, alphabetize it. So I know that I'm looking for
sort of order. Like, were they trying to put it in like the order in which things are like most commonly used? Because I don't feel like there was any logic to the order at all.
It had to be the order that they thought of it. Like, oh, we need to add this and that, because like even most used, a lot of the stuff that people use was in the other. Why would that be on the bottom?
I feel like I went to the other a lot.
I would always just scroll down and go to other, and if it wasn't there, then I would make a long list.
Start with other first.
I feel like they were trying to put them in the order that they wanted you to use things. So they were like, well, we don't want you to use web resources anymore, so we're going to bury that one, but we really want you to use apps and flows and tables. So we're going to put those right at the top, and everything else, you just got to look for it.
Even though they're all have different purposes.
That's neither here nor there.
Why don't they want us using web resources, Merlin?
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I'm not suggesting that they actually don't want us to use web resources. For everyone who's listening, I haven't read any official statement from Microsoft that they don't want us to use web resources. I'm just making that assumption because they're so hard to get to in the Maker portal that they're trying to encourage me to not use them.
What do you update your icons?
Right. That's true. You do still need them for the icons. I guess maybe they're only thinking about them like, oh, this is all just embedded HTML and they should just use a Canvas app. And so they don't need web resources unless they want to change the icons, which, as we've previously discussed, is a best practice.
Any other thoughts on like the new admin center tips or advice for people?
I'll guess like the analytics, or like I still call it org insights because that's what it used to be called, but like the analytics in the admin center are nice, and like I think those they're just so much better than what we've had for a long period of time. And I think if you're monitoring like an ongoing implementation, like I do a lot of new implementations, so like that area is not as relevant until you start using the system. But like if you wanted to look at user adoption or just have a general idea of like usage of the system, or probably troubleshoot something, more technical, or, I know there's API calls and like capacity and storage and all of that in there too, that's just a really nice resource that was not super available or visualized in a good way for most of Dynamics history. And I know it's not a brand new thing anymore, but I still think it's worth calling out as a beneficial section of the admin center.
I'm glad you brought that up because we actually use that a lot for user adoption at my company, and everyone's like, why don't you build a dashboard of like how many things people are creating and that kind of stuff.
Like I have a dashboard.
but the other reason is because we have like a segment of users where all they do is absorb information. They're never going to create anything. They're never going to update, modify. They literally go in to absorb information that other people have put in, check on it, things like that, where it's just like a communication channel.
And it tracks reads.
Mm-hmm. And so we can see, okay, are they actually, first of all, are they logging in? And second, are they reading what we would expect them to read in the environment? So that's actually huge for us, like at my company, because it's not always about what people are putting in. It's also about what they're absorbing based on what the people are putting in.
Yeah. And you can like look at your most commonly used tables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's actually, I'm curious because I've never had a need to use it, but like I've noticed that it tracks kind of like the type of device or the type of browser, like the mode of access. Like Is that at all interesting to you? Of like, are they using it more mobile or PC, or is that irrelevant for your company?
So I would say it's irrelevant right now just because COVID and we don't
Sure.
use mobile as much. I do know that when Org Insights was like brand new, I was working at a company where we did a mobile rollout. So we did track like, okay, what is our percentage moved at all to mobile to see if there was a good user adoption for it. So I would say if you're trying to roll out mobile, if you're trying to like encourage them to use mobile over the browser, that's a great way to track it. But just with COVID and our business model, we haven't gone back to mobile yet.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like the call out to the capacity stuff too, especially now that you don't have to pay extra for more environments. If you just, if it covers your capacity covers it, you're good. I use that tab literally all the time to be like, oh, how much space am I using? And I really like that it shows me like, here's how much you get by default, and here's how much more you get from users, and here's like all the different ways that your capacity adds up. And it's so much easier than like, I don't know, forever ago when it was like, I don't know, we're running out of space. Well, where's your space being used?
Right.
Somewhere. You got to like
just
do a SQL report to figure it out, or be like, well, we got lots of activities. Let's try deleting some and see if that helps.
Well, yeah, and I remember when we used to like try to use that audit history log to like track user adoption, and like that thing is just, it's ugly and it's unusable and it's a bad visualization. There's like nothing you can do with it. And so I just think the dashboards in the Admin Center are so much better than that.
Agreed.
Yep. That they did well. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we on this podcast like always talk about the things that didn't go well or aren't going right, but there is a lot. It's just easier to talk about that stuff, I think, right? Like, I don't want people to think that we're just like bagging on Microsoft all the time.
Well, I mean, we can't be that harsh on Microsoft. We all actively work with their tools literally all the time. So.
Well, it's because of how they implement their tools that we all have jobs too. So
it's true. If they were error-free and easy for anybody to just turn on and start using, I wouldn't have a job.
Same. All right. Well, that was another good podcast. And thanks for joining.
Thank you for listening to the Dynamics Hot Dish podcast. For additional content and previous episodes, check out our website at dynamicshotdish.com, follow us on Twitter at dynamicshotdish, and subscribe to our podcast for notifications. Thanks. See you next time.